All right, let's talk about a huge challenge in today's workplace. How do you make remote onboarding feel, human? Less like a transaction and more like a genuine welcome. For way too many new hires, this quote it nails that cold, impersonal feeling of starting a job from your kitchen table. It's a sign that the company's personality just isn't breaking through the screen. But here's the thing, getting this right is a total game changer. A truly human-centric onboarding can boost new hire retention by a full 50%. I mean, think about that. That's half of your new talent deciding to stick around, all because you nailed their first impression. And it doesn't stop there. That same great experience can pump up employee engagement by a massive 82%. We're talking about creating a team that's fired up and invested from the moment they log on. Okay, so the stakes are clearly high. So what's going so wrong? Well, the core problem is what a lot of people are calling a crisis of connection. It's that feeling of being on an island that can so easily happen when onboarding is all virtual. And a huge part of this is a disconnect. See, while 90% of executives are worried about the big picture stuff like maintaining culture, 70% of their employees are feeling a much more personal pain, just a simple lack of social interaction. There's a big gap between the strategy and the feeling. To really get our heads around this, we can look at the classic 4 C's of onboarding. You've got compliance, the paperwork, clarification, knowing what you're supposed to do, and then the 2 that often get lost, connection and culture. All 4 have to work together.
So let's break that down. In a normal office, connection and culture kind of happen by osmosis, right? You overhear things, you grab coffee, you just absorb it. But in a remote world, whoa, those 2 things become incredibly fragile. They don't happen by accident. You have to build them on purpose.
So how do we fix this? How do you actually build that connection? Well, the solution starts way before an employee's first official day. The work you put in during that pre-boarding phase is absolutely critical. A great pre-boarding plan has 4 key moves. The goal is simple. Get the boring paperwork done early. Make sure all their tech and gear is ready to go, and give them a clear heads up on what to expect. It's all about making them feel prepared and valued, not lost on their first morning. And please, never underestimate the power of a physical welcome kit. Sending some company swag, their new laptop, and maybe a personal note, it turns this digital job into something tangible and real. It's the first piece of the company they can actually touch. All right, now we're at day 1. All that prep is done, the focus now shifts entirely to the most important thing, creating genuine, memorable human bonds. That first day has to be intentionally personal. This is not the time for automated emails. It's all about face-to-face video calls, a warm welcome from their manager, a super casual meet and greet with the team, and maybe even a quick pop-in from a leader to show the whole company is excited they're on board. And here's something that's not just a nice to have anymore, the buddy system. Experts, like the folks at Harvard Business Review, say it's even more critical in a remote setting. You can't just lean over your desk to ask a question, so that buddy becomes your absolute lifeline. A great buddy really plays 2 different but equally vital roles. First, they're the practical guide for all those so-called silly questions about how things really work, but just as important, they're the social anchor. They're the one fighting off that potential loneliness and helping the new hire build their very first friendship at the company. Culture isn't something people can just absorb through a screen. You gotta bring it to life. This means getting creative. Do a virtual office tour, set up a Q&A with company veterans who can tell the real stories, and find ways to replicate those fun office inside jokes with GIFs or virtual parties. Look, a great start is awesome, but the real success of onboarding hinges on the support systems you build for the long run. You can't just roll out the red carpet for week 1 and then disappear. That support needs a rhythm to be effective, a clear cadence of check-ins, starting frequently in the first week and then gradually spacing out is vital. These aren't about micromanaging, they're about making sure the new hire feels supported and seen, not forgotten. And beyond just checking in, you have to give them a map. A clear 30, 60, 90-day plan with real goals gives new hires the context and the confidence they crave. It literally tells them what success looks like, and that is so empowering. Of course, technology is your best friend here, but its role has to be clear. Let technology do the heavy lifting, the forms, the modules, the logistics. That frees up your people to focus on what only humans can do: connect, coach, and offer real support. And that long-term support also includes setting people up for security success. With a wild 95% of cybersecurity breaches involving human error, clear security training isn't just an IT thing, it's a basic part of responsible onboarding. So in the end, it all comes down to this one question. Is your onboarding just a checklist of tasks to get through, or is it a thoughtfully designed human experience? Are you just processing an employee, or are you welcoming a valuable person to your team? The answer makes all the difference.